The other day, I referenced an old blog post called Eight Ways the Special Education System is Stacked Against Parents. Very popular blog post. I'm going to link it below, but I'll go over a few of them today, verbally or videoly. What's the word? I'm not going to go over all eight because that would take too long. And I could rant about this all day because it's just not fair. The reason that I'm pointing these out to you, parents, is to understand that it's not fair and that it is not a level playing field. So, this bullshit about parents are equal members of the IEP team, it's horseshit. Like, because you're not. It's just the system isn't set up that way. But knowledge is power, and understanding what you're up against and what the obstacles and challenges are can help you be a better advocate. So let's start with that one, right? Parents are equal members of the IEP team. No, parents aren't equal members. Parents are mandated IEP team members. Okay. IDEA says that you are a mandated IEP team member, that you have to be invited to the meetings, that your participation is required, that the school, no, you're not required to participate. The school is required to solicit your participation. But here's the thing, I don't know what you all do as a job. You know, maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a nurse, maybe you're a doctor, maybe you're a grocery store checkout person, maybe you're a retail clerk, insurance salesman, I don't know. There's a bazillion different jobs out there, right? IT, I don't know, I could go on. That is your knowledge base, right? You were trained in this job and that's your job, that's your career. You were not trained in special education. You were not trained in special education law. You were not trained in special education pedagogy. You were not trained in special education um, teaching, instruction, strategies, supplementary aids and services, as it is. So right away, there's an imbalance there because that is their job. They do this all day, every day. They went to college. Most of them have a master's, some even beyond that, in this, right? Education, IEPs, all of it. You do not. That is not equal. You are at a disadvantage, just luck, fate, whatever you want to call it. But don't beat yourself up about it because they don't know how to do your job and they wouldn't be able to walk into your workplace on day one or walk into your workplace one day a year and know how to do your job competently. This is to let you know that remember, you're already behind the eight ball because you have to become an expert in your child's condition and what supports and services and strategies work for that condition, because otherwise you are relying on others and you won't know if you're being taken advantage of or you just need to know what's out there. You have to become the expert in your child's condition. Your knowledge base is not the same, but we kind of have to get near. We have to get near. And of course, having IDEA knowledge and advocacy strategy, which I offer in Don't IEP Alone Academy, by the way. That's number one, knowledge base. The second one is, and it goes hand in hand, is time and money, because time and money and time is money. When you go to an IEP meeting or when you are doing this research, right? Like you're staying up at night or giving up your lunch break or whatever the case may be to learn about IEPs, to learn about your child's condition, to attend a dyslexia workshop or whatever, speech and language workshop, whatever it is, you are doing that on your own time and your own money, right? You're paying for the workshop. I know some of them are free and all that, but you may have to hire childcare for other kids. You may have to take sick time or PTO time um, from work to attend these IEP meetings, to attend workshops, conferences, appointments, whatever it is. Meanwhile, the rest of the IEP team is actually being paid to be there, right? This is their job. Now, I certainly acknowledge that many teachers, like 99% of them, do work outside of their contract hours. I'm not dismissing that. I'm not ignoring that. But The bulk of your job that is done during the school day, you are being paid to be there, and a parent is paying to be there by taking time off work, hiring sitters, things like that. Okay, so that is an imbalance. The Another way that this is not balanced is that schools have school districts have solicitors, meaning that they have attorneys, usually contracted. I don't haven't met too many that were actual employees of the district. Usually it's a contractual basis with an attorney's firm, but they contract with attorneys so that they have these attorneys on retainer that anytime they have a question, concern, anything, they have someone, right? They're already paying for it. The board already approved the contract. The board's already paying the bills. And they essentially have this attorney at their disposal whenever they want. Um, we don't have that. That is not fair and balanced. We also have, at least here in Pennsylvania, we have situations where these attorney firms give workshops to teachers, um, how to write legally sound IEPs, things like that. So again, the district is paying for this. The district is paying the attorney. The district is paying the teachers and staff to attend this workshop. Whereas if parents want such a workshop, they have to go and find it themselves and pay for it, take time off to get there, stuff like that. That is not equal. It's just not. Um, I'll get into one more, and then I'll put the link below because I'm already at like 7 minutes, and I like to keep these short so that you guys aren't tuning out. Um, but this notion of impartial, right? So if you file a complaint, an impartial person will be the facilitator, the mediator, the hearing officer, the administrative judge, whatever your state calls them. That there's this notion of impartiality. Um, and it says that on paper, but if you look state to state, there's some pretty egregious stuff going on out there. For example, some of the impartial hearing officers in some states are trained by school district attorneys. That doesn't really sound so impartial to me. But it happens. And anyway, the other thing is that these positions, these jobs, most of the time, again, whether you're a facilitator, mediator, hearing officer, that these jobs are not entry level positions. You don't go to college to become an IEP due process hearing officer, right? You evolve into it. And in many cases, it's people who are retired school district administrators, retired special ed directors, things like that. So no, they're not going to be impartial. They're going to have bias. We all have bias. Just like if you made me a hearing officer, I'm going to be biased. I'll tell you that right now because I've seen the worst of the worst as far as what happens to these kids, right? School district administrators have a completely different POV on this, and they're going to see it in a different way. Um, so this whole notion that they're impartial, and I'm not knocking them. I've had some great mediators. I've had some great meeting facilitators, but anyone who works in this field will tell you that, like, within your little niche or your little corner of the world, everybody knows which hearing officers are parent friendly and which hearing officers are district friendly. Um, there are some states where they're former school district employees and like they're assigned to you and you don't get to change it and all. It's you can read the stories in the link I'm going to put below, where some of my readers have emailed me about this and said, hey, this is what happened. South Carolina was a pretty egregious story, as was Ohio, I believe. So you take a look at those. But it's not impartial. It's not. So I don't. Again, I want you to have this knowledge so that you understand what you're up against. I'm not dragging anyone. The system is incredibly flawed. It's working as designed, but it is incredibly, incredibly flawed. So, knowledge is power. Please read what I put in the show notes. Please consider taking Don't IEP Alone Academy. I have a special going on right now, fall of 2025, depending on when you are hearing or listening to this episode. So, enjoy the rest of your day and go Phillies.